This one is for those out there who aren't happy. You tried everything, but you still can't reach that state of happiness. Well, not even happiness, you can't even reach a state of neutrality, can you? Where you go throughout the day and you are neutral. You are not up, because up seems like unrealistic in the first place, although when you were a kid you wanted to be happy. You kind of realize that as time went by, even up is a bit unrealistic. Well, no need up, no need like a high, no need like to be happy all the time. I just want to be neutral. I just want to be in like a constant, normal state of mind. But that also seems impossible, doesn't it? And why is that? That's crazy, no? Then you could say, you could blame it on something, which is what we usually do. Blame is a strong word. It's not even blame what you do. You kind of say, no, you know what? If I do this, then I'll come to a stable point. Then I'll be stable. Not even happy, but I'll be stable, and there I'll be okay. When did you last make a plan like this? Before you joined that degree, before you got that job, before you became a parent or whatever, And now that you are here, yes, granted, you reached a relative level of stability, but have you finished it? Is your stability stable now? Now that you're here, are you neutral, and is life okay at this particular point, in this time of existence? Or do you think, no, but I had to do this, no? But I had to finish building up that house, I have to save up and somehow I have to buy that car. But once I do that, so it will be okay. Sure then. But that's the problem, no? We inherently believe that there is a point in existence where everything is going to be okay. We so strongly believe that once we come to this point, it's all going to be okay. But you must realize now itself that that point is an illusion you yourself created. How many times before in the past have you created such a point, and now maybe you got to this point? Now that you got to this point, are you really where you thought you would be? If you are, then why are you creating another plan thinking it will be there? This is never ending. And this is exactly what Buddha called anicca. Nothing in this world can be maintained to your liking. But the problem is, you think it can be. And so your entire life, you push and try to get things your way. Then what is the solution to it? If life actually is completely unsatisfactory, no matter where we go, if it's all anicca, then what's the solution? Leave your clothes and go and ordain. No, that's not the answer. Because do you think an ordination where you are a monk or a nun, do you think that's the solution? Do you think that is niche? Do you think that is going to be in your control? Do you think that is going to be satisfactory? No, it's just switching a model. It's just moving from one way of living to another way of living. Both ways of living are not ideal. Both ways of living is anicca. Both ways of living is unsatisfactory. Both ways of living is not any closer to Nibbana. You can't say that if you live in a particular way, if you follow a certain routine, if you dress in a particular way, okay, you are closer to Nibbana because of that. That's utter BS. Ehema ekak naha. So if you have that kind of mentality, image in your head right now, put it off, because that's not true. But then you'll be like, how can you say that? Okay, if you don't agree with me, then go ahead, do it and see it for yourself. Or at least go and try to live up to a certain amount of days and see if you will reach that peace. Because there is an inherent problem in every existence. Even in ordination, even in a really good life, even in a rich, comfortable life. It's easy to believe this outside. That's why, have you seen that meme? They say money can't buy happiness, but money can buy a jet ski, and have you ever seen a person on a jet ski unhappy? How the fuck do you know what that person is going through? Shit, I swore. Maybe I shouldn't have. Anyway, how do you know that person on the jet ski is happy or not? Even though he's smiling, even though he's, at the moment having the time of his life, how can you say? Do you think he's in a constant euphoria? I think the thing about money is every time you have money, every time money somewhat loves you, every time you are down, every time you have some sort of dukkha, you can purchase something, no? Like, say, okay, I'm sad, that's because I don't have a bungalow. Let me get a bungalow. I'm sad because I don't have a Ferrari. Let me get a Ferrari. I'm sad because, I'm not doing anything valuable in my life. Let me start an organization. Let me create an app or whatever. And it kind of gives you this power to do these different things. And momentarily, it puts you in this space of happiness. But that's all it is. Say you do that, it's like you switch from one movie to another. It's something like that. While you're watching one movie, some movies are great, and then you watch another movie, that's great too. But then the same enthusiasm isn't just there anymore. When if you're a 90s kid, like when the internet first came around, and initially it was those dial-up ones, and internet was pretty slow, and even a web page loading, I don't know, with you guys, my internet was pretty bad. Even a web page loading was like a big deal, and it was like crazy. Oh my gosh, the internet! And then internet happened, and now it's like nothing. Now there's no flavor in it. It's something like that. You can put different avenues, different hits into your head, but that's about it. At the end of the day, say you have access to all the hits, you have all the money and power in the world, and you have access to all the hits. Can that still get you to a constant state of bliss? I have news for you, it cannot. Lord Buddha said something interesting. He said something controversial. He said, not even here, like even here you may think, because some religions may say, it's not here. You can't reach that kind of happiness here, but there is a higher dimension where you can live with God and everything's going to be okay. And Lord Buddha said, you know what? You can actually do that, and you can actually go up there and live in these higher dimensions. But etanat there is dukkha. Etanat it's problematic. All 31 dimensions, there is a problem. Now, the thing is, the beauty of the Lord Buddha's teachings is, you don't have to accept this. And you can't properly, genuinely, truly accept this, no? Because you still think there's something in life to be pursued, that something is valuable, no? You can't shake that off, no? You can't, no? So, the approach here is to investigate and look at that. What you believe is happiness, what you think is valuable, observe it and see if it can give you what you are looking for. If it can give you what you are looking for, then brilliant, stay there. Then Nivana is there, Nibbana is there. Stay there and enjoy the bliss because you made it. You don't need these teachings, you don't need any of this because you've got them there. Superb so. But if you'll go there and you find out that this is not what you are looking for, that it's also empty, that there's something really missing here, that no matter where you go, it all ends up in dukkha, in any way, and you get this kind of numbness. No matter where you go in life, relationship, no matter where, it's still empty. Then I guess you're ready to hear the word of the Buddha, because that's what he said. He said, then look what you are really expecting out of that existence. Yeah. For example, say you are in a relationship and you are miserable. Okay, you are really sad and you are down. The point is not to leave this relationship. It wasn't the relationship. It was the model. It was the model you created within you, which you told is happiness. Okay, so you wanted to come to this model, this frame, this standard. You believe that if you came to this standard, then you would be happy. That's why you go for the next guy or the next girl. You believe that the happiness is here, but this is an illusion. Then මෙතෙන්ට ගියාම up to a certain extent there will be happiness. But then it will go away. And then you'll be like, no, but this is where I want to go. But this is like like, you know, the donkey with the carrot. You know, the carrot is there, and every time it tries to reach, maybe it even gets a nibble. But it gets a nibble, huh? So, when the carrot is like that, the donkey kind of gets a little bit of nibble. And මුළු එකම කන්න බෑ. ඒ nibble එක අරගෙන it like goes behind for that nibble. So this entire journey, it goes under the sun, you know, your feet hurting, hooves hurting, and gets a little bit of nibble. And that's what pleasure is. There's a body pleasure, small sachet packet pleasure, and then it's gone. So you do all that to get that, and then it's gone. So really, this entire path is one of investigation. Now Lord Buddha came and said that there is a problem here. Like everything is anatta, not valuable. There's nothing valuable here. And then you don't have to say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu and believe that. You don't have to do that. You can though. I mean, if that's you, go ahead. I tried everything actually. Like, you can actually challenge that and say no. But I believe these things are valuable. So I'm going to find out if these things are not. So if you think that job is valuable, work super hard and get to that job and then see if that's what you were looking for. If you think that relationship is valuable, work super hard and get to that relationship, try out everything. If you think you can fix this relationship, work really hard and fix it and see if that's what you were looking for. If you think sex is valuable, go out there and have a hookup. If you think porn is valuable, go out there and really enjoy that. If you think marijuana is valuable, go out there and smoke up. Do all those things. Do. And then see if you reach that point where you were looking for. එතනත් නැත්තම් ඉතින් there's nothing more to say, no? This is not a path of suppression. For me, at least, restraint wasn't my strongest point. Everywhere I thought that there was something valuable, I went and got it, man. I went behind it. I went behind concerts. I smoked up, got drunk, partied, because I thought, like this is the life, man. This is where I want to live. And so I went and tried out all that. I tried that properly, not just one day. I tried that for months. But I reached a point where I was super numb. I was like, I'm doing all this, but there's nothing here. It's so empty. Everything in life is inherently empty. As you go more along the path, you notice not even going to the club, any kind of existence, even if it's a good person, even if it's a good parent, all these things are empty. Within this existence, there's nothing of value to be taken. I have friends, when I say some things like, even your parents, even your mother, even the role of a mother, it's good, but there is really, in its sense, nothing valuable. When I say that, some people get really triggered. They're like, how can you say that? You can't say that. I'm not saying the mother is a bad thing. I'm not saying mothers are evil. I'm just saying even the role of a mother has an inherent dukkha in it. But don't take my word for it. Go and see for yourself if that's so or not. If that's not, that's great. Then live within that existence. Because that's going to be a nibbana, no? But if you genuinely look at it, maybe you'll see something else. Up to you. So I wanted to talk about today, my main idea was to just give a sense of how nowhere in the world is there happiness. Is there a constant state of happiness? No, there is happiness. See, I would be completely wrong if I said there's no happiness. Happiness itself is the problem. Happiness lies. If a good analogy is like, happiness is like the hook. It's like the hook the fish bites right into, and it gets caught up in samsara because of that, wanting to experience it again and again and again and again. Too much is never enough for this fish. Happiness is what keeps you in the matrix, in this loop. You value the happiness, you value what you feel. So, at what point are you going to investigate this and see the problem in it? The entire path is observing phenomenon which is happening to you within your life right at this moment. So even if you are working 7 to 5, 9 to 5, you are not working at all, it doesn't matter. It won't make a difference. There is no lifestyle which is optimized for you to follow the Buddha's teaching. Have a lifestyle, that's a lie. It could be your current lifestyle. Yeah? It could be the lifestyle you are leading now. That is more than enough. Not even to become Sotapan, to even become an Arahat. That's more than enough. You don't have to get into robes. So, if you are interested in finding out what's all of this about, what's life about, what's this mind about, what's me about, what's really going on here, there are answers. And it's not this depressing existential where everything is pain, every moment is dukkha. No, there's actually a crazy amount of bliss. But it's also, don't put another frame on it being like, oh, it's so blissful, meditation is so blissful. Every moment I walk, every step I keep, it's just bliss. It's so much bliss. I can't even move my head up. It's so much bliss. I can't even talk really fast because I'm so blissed out. I'll have to talk really slowly. That's all bullshit, There's so much bullshit as to what this is. Just live normally. Live comfortably the normal way you live. And observe all phenomena. Observe what's happening. The thing is, without the Buddha's teachings, we can't really go that deep. Because what he says is basically, he gives a key in how to go. He basically gives a formula to apply to your problems. This formula will be pointless if you don't take it and make use of it. So how you can make use of it is applying it, investigating for yourself. You can never through faith believe this formula. Like a kochar believe karat, until you see it for yourself, until you realize for yourself, there is no liberation. So, good luck. Bye.